What is the best loophole that you've ever found? I didn't find this loophole, but my friend did. A few years back, an online store had this promotion where whoever spent the most money over a month would get free round-trip airplane tickets to anywhere in the world. My friend, who's a ducking genius, found that one thing you could buy on the site was a gift certificate. So he bought a $25 gift certificate and kept spending it on another $25 gift certificate. So he ended up spending $25 on round-trip tickets to Australia. I used to work at Papa John's to pay my way through college. There was a contest we had where if you got someone to upsize their pizza from like a medium to a large for an extra $2, you got points towards movie tickets. A large was simply $2 extra normally anyways. Anyone that ordered a large, I simply put in a medium and upsized it. I won every ducking week. My co-workers didn't notice this obvious loophole and it didn't cost the customer extra, so I didn't have a problem with this morally grey area. Free movie tickets every week was a huge in college. Back in 2013, Papa John's had a promo for the Super Bowl where if you called the coin toss correctly, you would get a voucher for a free one-topping pizza. However, the only control in place was you could only enter the contest one time per email address. I created more than 60 emails. Half of them calling heads, half tails. 8 free for 6 weeks. Edit, my highest rated comment ever is talking about ripping off Papa John's. Never change Reddit. My high school had a stupid rule that banned you from attending prom if you went to a Saturday detention that semester. I got in trouble and was assigned to Sat.D Hall. But my girlfriend really wanted to go to prom. I just kept skipping it and they kept adding more until they rolled it into a day of actual suspension. They had no rule barring you from prom for an out of school suspension, so I got a day off and took my girl to prom. My brother got free parking for pretty much his entire time at university. It was that golden period when the pay parking kiosks were able to accept credit cards. But before they were actually connected, they'd read a card and check it against a locally stored list of band numbers. And once a month the meter maid would download the transactions, process them, and update the blacklist. My brother found that they'd accept those prepaid gift cards if they were backed by Visa or MasterCard, but couldn't check the available balance. So he'd buy one, use the balance up on whatever, then use the card for parking until the end of the month when it'd get processed. Found to not have funds. And banned. Rinse and repeat. Guy saved probably $2,500 over his degree. Edit, y'all can stop telling me this is illegal. I don't give a flying duck and you are far from the first to say so. I can't remember when it happened, but it was years ago. I think it was Nestea, or some other canned tea. But if you bought a case of tea then there was a coupon on the box for a free case. Except it was on every case. So now you have case number 2 and another free case coupon. All the tea could be had. There was a drink machine in college that was $75 for a juice. If you put $1 in it gave you 5 quarters in change. I got a juice every day for months before they finally fixed it. There was a parking ticket machine at a casino near me that, if you put $50 notes in it would spit your note back out, pay for your parking and give you change. Only worked twice for me, but it was the best machine to play in the whole facility. My brother once yelled last one to jump in the pool is gay, and then jumped into the pool. However, I figured out that if I did not jump in then technically he would be the last one in the pool. And he is still gay to this day. This is so stupid, I love it. Michigan used to have a law that a minor could not plead guilty to a crime without a lawyer. I found this out by accident when I was 13 and used it 3 more times before I was an adult. What happens is that I as a minor would just plead guilty. They would then give me a sentencing date and let me leave. Then a week or so later I would get a letter stating that it is not legal for me to plead guilty without a lawyer and my case was dismissed. Or thrown out because of it. I got out of 3 minor in possession tickets that way. I was working maintenance at McDonald's when they did a Best Buy Bucks promotion. Large sodas and large fries had a scratch off that was worth at least $1 at Best Buy. I would go through the trash daily, pulling out all the discarded scratch offs. I got a free computer that year for Christmas. I also had a poor cashier at Best Buy in tears. She had to manually scan each scratch off and verify the dollar amount. For a while McDonald's had a promo where, when you walked in, you could scan a QR code and possibly get free food. However, different locations and different cutouts had different codes. I took pics of as many unique codes I could find, put them all on a handy PDF, and scanned them all using an Android device and an iOS device before lunch. I got free extra value meals regularly. In fact, I still had a couple free ones left over when they stopped the promotion. Took a survey course in college, which basically amounted to a course the school was planning to offer in the future, but giving the professor an opportunity to fine-tune the curriculum before officially offering it as a class. Easy enough course. Got my credit. Went home happy. Next semester the course went live and was offered under a different course number, but the description was identical. Signed up. Never attended a class. Took the final and got my credit again. Back in the day, 2 5-piece chicken nuggets at Burger King cost less than a single 8-piece chicken nuggets. Me and those 2 extra nuggets were laughing all the way to the piggy bank. Back in the 1960s, the school district in my hometown was broken up and absorbed into the surrounding districts. Fast forward to 2003. I'm applying to colleges. I discovered that there is a scholarship fund for people living in that old district's area. The district is gone, but the scholarship still exists. I applied and got the scholarship. I don't think there were any other applicants. Italian restaurant my family loves had a candy claw machine we played every time we went. But the trick to learn was, if the claw closed all the way it thought that meant you didn't get anything, and would let you play till you did get something. This means we would go for individual items that would fit into the claw perfectly. 1 sucker, 1 Laffy Taffy, so it would close all the way. Instead of trying to get a big lot all at once. That way it wouldn't register the candy and we could keep going and going. We actually took so long once our parents made us leave before our turn was up and we still left with handfuls of candy. The best part? It only cost a quarter. They no longer have that machine. Free internet access during the early days of the internet. AOL if you signed up for that free month. Call to cancel they would give you a free month or 2. Cancel at the end of that period then sign back up with a different checking or savings account. Same process. By that time the original account would fall off their list of known accounts so you could go back to that one. I got 2 years of free internet that way. And got my mom permabanned from AOL. Edit. This became more popular than I thought. My inbox is getting run up in. But why all the AOL hate? They weren't that bad as far as early ISPs went. I mainly used them from 95 to 98ish, some odd 99. Maybe used a month here a month there through the early aughts to fill in a need every now again if I was between ISPs. Went to a Catholic school with uniforms. We got jeans day passes to wear. They were always different colors, including white. I took one white pass. Took it to a copier, copied enough to fit 1 page. Printed 1 full page of passes, then printed mass stacks of pages. I made a lot of money selling them out. My dad figured out a good one back in the 80s. Just like they do now. Back then cable companies would give you a free weekend trial of a premium channel. HBO, Cinemax, etc. in an effort to get more people to sign up for those channels and pay more. However, our cable company's method of giving you access to the special channel was to send a signal to your cable box which unlocked the channel. To turn off the channel at the end of the free trial, another signal was sent. My dad figured out that the signal to lock it was only sent for a short period of time. So before the end of the free weekend, he would unplug the cable box and then plug it back up the next day. Since the box never got the signal, we would have a free premium channel for a while. Usually after a month or two it would get shut off, so we'd have to wait for the next free trial weekend. Not very impressive, but at my high school we had to wear a button down and a tie to class every day. One of the kids realized that they never specified what kind of button down it had to be, so he wore a Hawaiian shirt to class with a tie. Technically it met the dress code, so it stuck. Pretty soon most of the school started wearing Hawaiian shirts with ties to class. We looked like a bunch of ridiculous Jimmy Buffett goes Mormon types, but it was worth it to spite the system. They changed the rule to ban Hawaiian shirts a week later. They used to have a promotion at Wendy's, probably 6 or 7 years ago, where if you filled a survey out on your receipt you could get free burger. I guess they didn't notice that you could take the survey on the receipt of the free burger and just keep getting free ones. So we would just go after school and chain 5 free burgers after we just bought one. We did that for a few days until they finally caught on and stopped accepting it. Instead of buying sandbags to weigh down the bed of my pickup truck in winter, I just shovel the snow right in there. When it warms up, the snow melts. No muss. No fuss. It'll be a cold day in hell when I pay for a bag of sand. Or when I recognize Miss Sarah. In 3rd grade, our teacher had to leave the room for some kind of emergency, and left one of the students in charge, the teacher's pet. Of course, the teacher said that we were not allowed to talk. And if we did, we would have to write 100 times "I will not talk in class" when instructed not to. Or something like that. Well, my friend and I were bored. So we started writing out the punishment. And when we were finished, proceeded to talk to each other until the teacher returned. The student left in charge wasn't sure what to do. It was hilarious that you can jiggle the handle of certain gumball machines to get free gumballs. This happened to me once as a kid, and this caused me to physically assault any gumball machine I ever came in contact with for next couple of years. Old job had a loophole about time. It worked as such. If you were scheduled for 8 AM shift you had 7 minutes to arrive and be on time. If you arrived past the 7 minutes you were considered 15 minutes late. Loophole. It worked the same for clocking out. If you stayed and helped for an extra 7 minutes and clocked out, you got an extra 15 minutes of pay. During my tenure there, I would always ask if people needed extra help and make sure I stayed past the 7 minutes. This went on for a full year. Got probably close to an extra 24 hours of pay. I purchased a wireless keyboard at least 8 years ago. Maybe 10. It's awesome. Except I broke one of the keys about 2 years later. So I contacted the manufacturer to see about just buying a replacement control key because it's awesome, and I thought just the key would be cheap. But they said it's still under warranty and they sent me a replacement. About 2 or 3 years later, a similar thing happens and I'm all set to throw down $$ for a replacement. But the replacement keyboard's warranty time started when they sent me that one. So I wound up with a replacement for my replacement. This just kept going on. I'm currently on my 3rd or 4th replacement keyboard. I've lost count. Over the years, the design of the keyboard has improved so much. The current one is not at all identical to the original K800 I purchased. But it's still a fantastic keyboard. If they would ever give me an opportunity to buy a replacement, I would. My former workplace would tell us every Monday that we had to work overtime Saturday. Then often cancel overtime at the last minute. That way they didn't have to give us the minimum 24 hours notice of mandatory overtime, and they could take as long as they wanted to decide if they needed us. They also got to play it off like they were doing us a favor by giving us our weekend back. It was a big dig move, but it was certainly effective. Math lesson. Teacher, for this project you will work in groups of less than 7. Me. So, 1 is less than 7. Comma. Teacher, okay. Fine. Do it all yourself then. I got 70% on this assignment. Highest mark I ever got in group work. When I was a kid my town had a slow bike race tournament. So the objective was to cross the finish line in last place. The key is to keep your balance. Well, the rules stated that each time your foot hit the ground you would have 5 seconds subtracted from your time. But it didn't say anything about keeping your foot planted on the ground. So once the race started I just stood there and waited until everyone else finished. Waited a good 5 seconds after that. Then just rode across the finish line. Ultimately they didn't let me win, which I think is horseshit because they wrote cheaty rules and a 12-year-old found a loophole. When Presto card first came out in Toronto, the swipe card that gets you onto public transit, the card I got was faulty from the moment I bought it. I'd loaded it with cash but 9 times out of 10 it wouldn't scan. The transit operators would see me curse and swear at it and let me through the gates anyway. Then I'd pick up a transfer which passed as my proof of payment. I must have done that a good 30 times over the course of 2 months. Saved myself $100 or so on transit. Didn't want to push my luck too much, so eventually replaced the card with a working one. My friend made a spreadsheet of all the restaurants in town that gave you free stuff for your birthday. And mapped out the shortest route to take you to all of them. Lie about your birthday for different apps for Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, etc. and spread the free sheet throughout the year so you don't have to hit up a million places in one day. When shopping online. This is a bit of a ball ache, but if you're struggling financially you can always just spend the amount required for free delivery. And most places don't charge you to return items, so just send back what you don't want for a refund and you got free delivery. Not sure if this will still work, but when my buddies and I would go to see a movie, we'd only buy 2 tickets and 2 of us would go in. One of us would then take both ticket stubs and pretend like we were going out for a smoke and come back in with another buddy. We'd do this until all of us got in. As someone who used to work at a theater, I wouldn't stop you unless you looked like you were going to cause trouble. Not me. But I read about a guy that bought coins from the Canadian Mint with his credit card. Deposited them in his bank, they have value, and ended up doing this multiple times. Which turned to millions of air miles. Saw a video on this the other day with the US Mint and dollar coins. Mint wanted to get them into circulation, so they offered free shipping and took credit cards. People would order tens of thousands of dollars worth, take them to the bank and deposit them and then pay off their credit card bill with it. All the while the banks are getting shipments of these coins to put into circulation, so they end up with tons of them that they then have to send back to the mint. I still use the loophole of jumping on a shuttle bus out of Laxter parking garage or hotel. Yes, and then calling an Uber Lyft from there to avoid the airport prices. Brings the ride home down to $10 from $40. When I was a student, the laundromat at the end of my street would launch the selected machine if you press the key twice. It worked for a month or 2. And then it got fixed.